Hello everybody, I'm Gabrielle Vinette, host of Cultivating Innovation with Tetra, adaptive tools for the farm and kitchen. This podcast showcases customized solutions for overcoming barriers for people with disabilities. Each episode puts the spotlight on a real-life issue and follows how Tetra responded. Tetra has been building creative solutions and overcoming barriers for over 35 years. This podcast is a collaboration between Ingenium, Canada's Museums of Science and Innovation, the Disability Foundation in Vancouver, and the Tetra Society of North America. For today's episode, I'm joined by Jim Stone, the volunteer for the Eating Utensils project. The project consists of a fork, a spoon, and a knife which takes the shape of a semicircle blade. The utensils are cut at the beginning of the handle since the client cannot hold them due to his disability. The handle of the utensils is replaced by a metal ring the size of the client's palm that Jim welded. That way he does not have to close his hand around the utensil to use it. So thank you so much for meeting me today, Jim. I just want to start off by asking, so how did the idea of the eating utensils sort of come around?
Well, you get this application and then you try and match what you have in your mind and figure it out. And basically, I had a friend who had made the knife one 30 years ago, probably. His son he did a dive into the sand and broke his neck. But that gave me the idea of what to do for the rest of them. I went and visited them, and then I built the rest from that. And it was all special steel. And I got that from Tetra, Calgary, actually. So I put it all together and did it, yes.
So how did Tetra get involved with this project?
People apply to the main organization, and then it filters down to us, and then we pick the ones we want to take on as individuals.
So what made you choose that project, the eating utensils, out of all the ones that Tetra have gotten?
It seemed to fit just from thinking about it. And basically, you got to kind of always step into it slowly and then figure out if it matches.
Okay. What exactly is the eating utensils? Can you describe pretty much what it is to me?
They're made of stainless steel, and this gentleman had very little strength in his hands. Basically, what it amounted to was putting a strip of this stainless steel material around the palm of his hand and then adapting a knife and a fork and a spoon, another little device that made it so he could reverse his chair easier because his fingers were not strong enough to work the joystick. And so it was just the same around the hand, a piece of steel. And then it went from there to a round half-inch pipe mounted in the palm position of it. So he could just set that on the joystick and move it wherever he wanted to.
And how does it work? Like, how does he use the eating utensils?
Well, it's a matter of he can go through the motions of eating with his arm and everything, but he had no grasp ability in his hand, like he couldn't squeeze his hand. And so what this did is it made it so that it made it his hand so it had the utensils otherwise connected. And actually, his therapist in the end made a splint which went up the arm a ways, which made it even more secure on his hand. And that was done by someone up near Edmonton. But the actual unit made it so that he could make use of those utensils to eat and also to drive his wheelchair.
Okay. And you mentioned a bit earlier how you made and what kind of like you mentioned stainless steel, metal and stuff like that. So what material did you take to make the eating utensils?
Most of what I do is my hands and my equipment in my shop come together, and if everybody agrees, we get it done. And so it's basically a matter of being able to establish what size of pieces we need. And I have a bandsaw that I can cut those out of stainless steel. And so it was a strip about an inch wide that went around the palm of the hand, and it was left to be adjustable when the gentleman came himself to the shop. we were able to make it adjustable to the point we could make it the right tightness, then hold it with pop rivet in place. And so it's always a matter of, you can always try it on your hand, but you can't size it till he's actually here. And so that's what we did. It just took a few minutes then for him to get them on and get fitted, and then away he went.
Okay. So how much did the entire thing cost?
Well, it cost nothing because my time there's never been a charge for that with Tetra. The material, a gentleman in Calgary at Tetra at that time just happened to have a piece of stainless steel that we could use. And so it's just matched that with me, and away we go.
And how did the design for the eating utensils sort of come around? Was it like through you, or was it through somebody else?
Well, the initial idea of the knife itself, which is a round face knife, it's kind of like a skinning knife that they use in the Aboriginal days. And so the position of the hand has got to be in a comfortable position to cut. So this band of metal around my hand was welded, and with another fellow welded it for me, actually. He welded it on so that you sort of sat it on something you wanted cutting and just rotated your hand, and the sharp edge would then cut through the meat or the whatever you wanted to cut.
All right. Is there anything that you would like to add for all the people who will be listening to the podcast?
Well, I've been at this for in excess of 25 years. Originally, this organization started in Vancouver, and it was a gentleman who was in a wheelchair with the mayor of Vancouver, and he had engineers help him build special things for special needs. And in those days, that's kind of where I got my instinct or my want to be a part of it, because I heard about that story, and I always kind of kept true to that.
Well, that's really nice. Thank you so much for this. This was very insightful. Thank you. Thanks for listening to Cultivating Innovation with Tetra, adaptive tools for the farm and kitchen, with me, Gabrielle Vinette. If you're interested in learning more about us, check out tetranation.org. To find out more about Ingenium, Canada's Museums of Science and Innovation, you can visit their Facebook page at Ingenium, Twitter at IngeniumCA, and Instagram at Ingenium Canada. That's all for this episode. See you next time.